G'day, it's Professor Joseph Drew. I'm the author of over 80 peer-reviewed scholarly works, including 4 books published in the fields of economics, accounting, public administration, political science, and philosophy. And I'm here today to share with you my top 5 tips for scholarly writing. So my number 1 tip is to plan your work. As you can see, there's a plan up there. You'll have to tip your head on the side to read it because I didn't rotate it. That's a plan of a recent paper I wrote, sent it off to an A-ranked journal, got accepted by the first A-ranked journal. It was sent to, which I think is a strong endorsement of the planning method. Now, a lot of you will sit down and start writing. You've not really thought out how many sections you have. You haven't thought out what paragraph is going to go into each section, how you're going to develop the ideas and how you're going to develop the ideas within paragraphs. And guess what? When I read papers like that, it sounds like you haven't planned it. It sounds like you're thinking as you're writing because you are thinking as you're writing. So to give you an idea of things, I typically spend at least a week doing up a detailed plan. This is just an overall plan for the paper. There's another even more detailed plan for each section before I write it. And it's not until I've finished planning that I touch the keyboard and start writing. So on the whole, I spent about a week planning and about 4 days writing a paper. Obviously, I'm very fast because I've done it over 80 times. But that gives you an idea that you should be prepared to spend at least as much time planning your essay as you are writing it. My second most important tip is to be yourself. Don't try to write as if you've just swallowed a thesaurus or a dictionary to try to impress me with your big words. If you read the true greats of academic writing, you read Emeritus Professor Dollery or Ronald Coast, someone like William Riker, or Albert Hirschman, they don't sound like they've swallowed a dictionary. They rarely use big words. When they do, it's a word that you have to scuttle and find a dictionary because you've never heard it before, and that's to show you how much smarter they are than what you are. But most of their sentences are nice short sentences full of nice simple words, because you know what? You want your reader to understand what you're saying. You don't want to annoy your reader by making them have to read with your paper in one hand and a dictionary in the other. So keep it simple. Also, when you think about it, in normal conversation, people don't suddenly stop listening and walk away on you, do they? Obviously, you're engaging the way you talk in a normal conversation. Well, bring that style to your writing, to your academic writing as well. Now, obviously, you're not going to use slang and colloquialisms and swear words and things like that. But on the whole, if you approach your academic writing in a similar vein to what you'd approach a conversation with a learned colleague or peer, that will stand you in good stead. Talk out loud. Most of the things you ever learnt were associated with speaking out loud. Think of all the spelling words you learnt and all the tasks you learnt throughout your childhood. And indeed, there's a huge body of scholarship, educational psychology scholarship, based on the work of Similonovich Vygotsky. And he studied aphasiacs and regular people that could speak, and he discovered and he theorized, and it's since been proven, that speech is the thing that sets people apart, that enables them to do so much more in intellectual endeavors. So don't be afraid of talking out loud. If you feel a little bit silly talking out your idea, grab your pet dachshund like I do, or a cat, or whatever animal you have at home, and tell them about your essay and how you're going to develop each paragraph and section and what ideas you're going to explore and how your conclusions are going to plan out. It's in that act of talking it out loud that you'll discover where the flaws are, where you'll discover that you need more explanation, and where you'll feel comfortable enough with your plan to sit down and start typing and do an excellent job. Number 4, best advice I ever got. When you finish writing, put your essay down and don't go near it for at least a week. It's as simple as that. You need time away from it, because when you're writing, you've got all these things that you mean to say, all these thoughts that you think you've written, and when you read it straight away, you'll impute all those thoughts into what you're actually reading. You won't read the specific words. Leave it for a week and come back to it when you've forgotten about all the things you were thinking at the time, and read the actual words carefully, and you'll notice that there are things missing, or that there's things that could be better expressed. Now, on that point, I often read out loud when after I've given an essay a rest for a week and go, that doesn't sound right. Embrace those impulses. If something doesn't sound right, you know the best way to deal with it? Highlight that area of text, press the delete key and rewrite it. It's quicker to rewrite it than try to work out what little word or punctuation marks missing that it doesn't sound quite right. If it doesn't sound quite right to you, it's not going to sound quite right to your reader. You know, another excellent tip that someone told me, change the font. It's remarkable if you change it from Arial to brush script or even just to Times New Roman, all of a sudden you'll notice spelling mistakes, grammar mistakes and ideas that you hadn't noticed previously. It makes your brain work harder and think about the actual words in front of you. So give it a rest and change the font. And my last number 5 tip is get a good proofreader. It's just so important. I can easily see the difference between something that's been proofread and something that hasn't. A lot of my proofreading has been done by my mentor, my teacher, and very good friend, Emeritus Professor Dollery, and you won't get better than that. But hey, he's my proofreader. You're not having him, and he's much more than a proofreader. He's also a very distinguished colleague that obviously has a lot of valuable and important input to put into the theory. In other work, in non-academic work, sometimes I use my son, Samuel Drew. He proofread my last couple books. They were written for general popular audiences. I needed to be able to explain the concepts to laymen, and the ideal person was a very intelligent young man who could read the books, and if he didn't get something, obviously I wasn't explaining it clearly enough and I had to have another go. Another good source, if you're a student, is one of your peers, a fellow student. They're doing the same topic, they've already done their own research. They would be an excellent source of a proofreader, and obviously if they proofread your work, you proofread their work, and you're both better off and both getting good marks. I don't know why students don't collaborate a lot more than they do. But irrespective of who you find to proofread, get a good one, someone that actually speaks the Queen's English, and treat them with a lot of respect and gratitude because they are so important to your end result. Look, I hope that video has really helped you. These are the lessons I learned the hard way, particularly planning. That was the single biggest difference that made a difference to my academic career, and you can see when I started planning, because that's when I hit the best journals in the world consistently, and it was such a revelation to me that if you spend as much time planning, if not more, than writing, you will get a much better outcome. It takes about the same time in total anyway. There's a whole video on that. I've got videos on all sorts of things on this channel. Look, if you want me to make more videos, you've got to throw me a bone. Subscribe, flick this video around to other people so that they can watch them. Give me the thumbs up, and thank you very much for your time. Goodbye.